How's the best Far Cry 5 weapon in Far Cry 6? If you played Far Cry 5, then you know that the Spaz 12 was god tier in that game, killing all the baggies in one shot. Well, in Far Cry 6, it's only a rank 2 shotgun, so I wanted to try it out and see how it plays in this game. There's also a really cool tactic you can do with shotguns that I want to talk about here, and I want to share some other weapons you can find in the game that I haven't touched on yet. So of course, if you enjoy the Far Cry content here on the channel, leaving a like on the video would really help me out. And let's go. There's still time to enter my current giveaway for 2,300 Far Cry credits. You can enter via the link in the pinned comment. And if you want to participate, you have to be a subscriber of the channel. So good luck. A pro tip in Far Cry 5 was to save a lot of money by killing bisons and then spending that on the Spaz 12 flameout that would take care of any enemy instantly. Well, in Far Cry 6 you get the shotgun from a treasure hunt, which you find close to the Legends home base. Over here on the map, you have to find 3 switches by climbing on buildings, doing some platforming, and then you can open the final door to get the gun. And again, in Far Cry 6 it's only a 2-star weapon, which doesn't really make sense because it's still an insane powerhouse. You still take care of enemies instantly, and just like in Far Cry 5, it has a great range for a shotgun too. I only had some trouble with the flamethrower enemies, needing a couple of shots, but all the other targets went down with just one shot of the buckshot rounds. And if we compare the Spaz with the higher rank shotguns in the game, you see that it's really more about preference. Sure, the KSG has more damage and accuracy, but the fire rate of the Spaz is wild. Also way more than the RMS rank 4 shotgun. Like overall we are just seeing small differences between those shotguns, but what we see when firing all 3 shotguns is that the Spaz can just keep firing really rapidly. The KSG has some downtime in between shots, and the RMS can fire 3 shots, after which it has some downtime too. So no pump in between shots for the Spaz 12 gives it actually a huge edge. Sure, maybe you already noticed that the magazine size of the other 2 shotguns are way larger. Of course, we got a tactic for that I already recommended in previous videos. When namely using shotguns, it's smart to put the reload all weapons mod on your sidearm. So when you're about to reload your Spaz, just switch to your sidearm, maybe shoot the enemy, reload instantly, and switch back to the shotgun to take that enemy out. Or you can just switch to your sidearm, shoot in the air, reload, and then all the other weapons you're currently using will get their magazine refilled too. And I would argue that with this tactic, having less ammo in the magazine of the Spaz is actually not that big of an issue. There is, by the way, a cool trick for the Spaz and other shotguns too, but I want to first compare it to the 1887 shotgun, which you can of course get at Lola. And all these stat comparisons are, by the way, with the same attachments and bullets on all these shotguns. Only the 1887 doesn't have a silencer, which already makes it less ideal. But yeah, it's pretty clear that the Spaz outclasses the 1887 in almost everything except for the accuracy. And to be fair though, this without the overclock mod, which of course increases the weapon damage. And when you do unlock that on the 1887, then you do see that it does more damage. But because of the downtime and the lack of a silencer, I would still go for the Spaz overall. The massive downside is of course though that it's a rank 2 weapon, so you can only have 1 mod on it, while all these other higher rank shotguns have way more options. And of course the 1887 has the MK2 mods because it's an overclock weapon, and these mods are basically better versions of the regular mods. So really fingers crossed that they release an overclock version of the Spaz 12 at some point, because then I think it might be the best shotgun out there, although of course the RMS is still amazing. It kind of comes down to preference, and I will then go the nostalgic Far Cry 5 best weapon route. You can of course also use the supercharger unique variant of the Spaz 12, which I already talked about in my best weapons you want to get early video. We'll link to that in the video description, and in that video there are timestamps, so you can easily skip to that part about the shotgun. Okay, one more thing about the Spaz 12, trust me, before we move on. With that 1 mod slot, you can put the reload this weapon, reloads all weapons mod on it. And yes, even if you then put only 1 bullet back in the gun, you reload all your weapons. So again, just shoot in the air, put the bullet you just shot back into the gun, and everything is reloaded, or stop halfway a longer reload to also benefit from this. It's pretty wild. And you now see me do this tactic in combination with the MGL-6, which has a really long reload. So now I do it with this tactic, and I can immediately use it again to blow stuff up, because I kind of love this grenade launcher. Sure, it does take some time to get used to it, as the regular grenades bounce sometimes and not immediately explode on impact. And you have to make sure that you get the aim under control too, because the explosives can easily appear behind the enemy. So make sure you stand far enough from the target and then aim at the ground, and you'll see the enemies fly. And if you got this under control, then this weapon can very easily clear enemies, like you see me do it here during these special operations. And it's perfect for this activity, as the enemies tend to stand close in small areas, so you can easily take them all out with just one shot. It's pretty satisfying. And you can also put EMP grenades on the weapon, so this can be nice against incoming enemies on smaller vehicles, although using explosives for this is likely just as good. Now you sometimes have to namely finish the enemy still off. And yes, you can also use it to take out helicopters instantly, although it's way harder to aim than that smaller grenade launcher I showed you in a previous video. So it's still possible with this larger grenade launcher, although I still recommend the M79 over this one. So you mostly want to get it for the explosives, and you find it over here in the bottom right corner of the map from the Parting Gifts treasure hunt. You have to push a mobile generator to the old generator, or you can use the car close by too. I just pushed it, so hold the push button, and then after that you can clean the fire, shoot the lock inside the first burning area, and then it's easy from there, and you can get the MGL-6. I love red, so I immediately put the red skin on it. But another really cool skin is the one you find on the El Caballero unique grenade launcher, which you find over here on the map in an FND base. You have to use the key, and then you get access to the area, so you can grab this variant. And well, this weapon lets you test the fire grenades on the grenade launcher without spending the gunpowder. And yeah, they are pretty nice, as you will still have the explosives, but now in combination with the fire. So you have the same effect from the regular grenades, but now leave fire behind too. So now I'm actually enticed to use these fire grenades on the regular MGL-6, because it's of course still way smarter to use the regular variant. Same for the MP34, by the way, which you can buy at a guerrilla garrison after upgrading it, I think a second time. And you can likely find it in an FND cache too. Well, there's also a unique variant, so this one you can just find in the world pretty easily. It's over here on the map, and once you are here, you have to climb on some plants to eventually get the Carriage Carnage. And this is of course another weapon from Far Cry 5, only this one was added later on via a live event, and it's just an average gun. I love the magazine on the side, and the reload is quite fast, but it can take a pretty long time to kill enemies, even with armor-piercing rounds. And it can also be very hard to hit enemies from a longer range, especially when you're moving. So totally stand still, and then it will be easier. Maybe an overclocked version can save this weapon during the end game, but right now it's just cool to use if you maybe like the design, but there are way better options out there. If you're watching this on October 18th, then tomorrow is going to be a big day for Far Cry 6. We'll be streaming the weekly reset here, so totally subscribe to miss nothing, and way more Far Cry content, of course. A like on the video would really help me out. And check out my previous video on the new weapons and other stuff that is coming to the game, which you can watch by clicking on the screen. For now, I will speak to you in the next one. Goodbye.